Hi, today on Catherine Learns Stuff, I'm going to walk you through making this cute snowman countdown calendar for the holiday season. What I've done for my Christmas countdown snowman is I've cut out a few pieces by using my Cricut, and I've cut out a few pieces by hand. So the top hat and the circles for the snowman were done by the Cricut. So I've got a 4-inch high by 6-inch wide hat with a 2-inch brim, and I've got 3 8-inch circles. This has all been cut out in old cereal boxes, and I have 10 of these 3-inch pieces that are about 11 inches long, which should be enough to go around my snowman. So I'm going to glue my snowman together. Like so, and then when he's dry, I'm going to simply attach the walls on all the way around. I want to make sure that the printed side of the cereal box is facing inwards, just so that there's no possibility of any color coming through my final wrapping job. Just using my faithful glue gun. Lots of glue. What I'm going to do is drop a bead of glue along the edge of the wall, and then I'm going to attach it on the side of the snowman. This takes a little bit of maneuvering, so sorry for the mess that this is going to make. And then of course the first pieces are always the hardest to get on. Working with circles is never easy. Doing this, some edges will need to be cut to make things fit a little better. Like that. And just gluing the rest of this in the same fashion. And on the joining pieces, I like to add a little bit of extra material in between the sections to help it stay together. Sections where I've got surplus wall, what I can do is I can cut it, but I have enough that if I fold it, I'll actually be able to continue using it along the extra side of the snowman. So I'm just going to fold it and have it as a curve here, like so. Walls are glued onto my snowman. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do another bead of glue around all of the edges on the inside and at any of the joining pieces, just to make sure that this structure holds together once my kids start to tear it apart later on. start adding in the divider levels. So I've got more of these 3-inch wide wall pieces. So what I'm going to do, based off of my design, each circle is going to have 2 floors in it. The hat's going to have sort of 3 boxes inside of it. So I'm just going to start cutting this up, making it fit, and then gluing them in. This is really just an eyeballing activity, so I don't do any precise measurements. I just measure them out, glue them in, and off we go. Pieces are in. I don't really need to worry about how ugly it might look inside. That's all going to be covered up anyways. I'm going to run a little bit of extra glue around some of these bases because over time you notice when I was trying to put them in, they slipped and slid a little bit, so I need to just put a little bit more glue in there to make sure everything holds. Left now is to add in the dividers for each floor. So there's going to be, each sort of section has 2 sections with 2 slots and a section with 3 compartments. So I've got a bunch of these extra bits from before, so I'm just going to start putting them into spots, cutting them into size, and gluing them in as we go. Compartments are in. The next thing that I need to do is I need to measure my wrapping paper. So the concept is that the snowman is going to be white, so I'm just going to use the back side of the wrapping paper to cover the snowman up. So I just need to trace the snowman out using my snowman. The one thing I like to do when I'm tracing this out later on when I'm cutting it, I want to make sure that I leave a little bit of extra space so that I can actually fold over the surplus wrapping paper to cover the edges so that it's a nice seamless edge at the front face of the snowman. So I'm quickly just going to trace this out. So my snowman's traced out, so now I'm just going to cut it. I'm going to remember to leave a little bit extra around the edges so that I can place that onto the side of my snowman. thing to do is after filling in all the candy, it's important to take a picture of the slots to make sure that you know where you have candy for later on in the process. Now that all my candies are in, I can put on my snowman cover. I'm choosing to leave the white side out, but if you have a nice wrapping paper, you could alternately have the wrapping paper color facing outwards. So what I'm quickly going to do is with my glue gun, I'm going to run a bead of glue around all the edges so that when I put my cover on top, everything will stick to my snowman. Now I've taken some pictures of the locations of all of my treats so that when I'm putting the numbers on later, I know where to put the special days. So before I left a little bit of an edge around all of my sides so that I could pull the snowman down a little bit around the edges to hide the cardboard. So I'm quickly going to clean up all the edges by just cutting up, putting some notches in the sides here to allow for easy bending so that I can glue the rest of this onto the sides. And put down my extra wrapping paper. Not happy with the way that these edges turned out. My skills at measuring are clearly worse than I anticipated. So what I've done is I've cut out a 2-inch strip of wrapping paper and I'm going to try to nicely place it onto the top here so that I can glue it around the edges, and then I'm going to cut it and glue it down a little bit so that it looks a little bit nicer, hopefully. I'm going to just snip certain areas so that I can fold my top portions so that they fold nicely on top, like so. They'll be a little bit overlapping, but that will look hopefully better than it did before. Forgot that my top hat is black, so I'm just going to glue on my top hat here so that I've got a snowman with a top hat, because that's the whole purpose of him. Otherwise it would have been just a plain head. It's just cardstock, but I will need to help make some holes for later. with that so that my boxes can get opened. The last things that are left to do is to install my numbers in my snowman pieces. So I've got some eyes and some noses. I printed all this out with my Cricut. I've got 2 eyes, 3 buttons, and a smile. So I'm just going to quickly glue these bits on so that I can have a nice looking outline for my snowman. Do before I put all the numbers onto my snowman is I can make some slots for the holes before I put my numbers on them, just so that I don't have to worry about later on ripping the whole snowman when I'm trying to break into each compartment. I'm going to pre-make some holes just with a pin so that I've got some looseness in the material already. So just using a paper clip, I'm going to make some holes. So that picture I took before of my snowman with all the candy inside is now coming in handy so that I can put my snowflakes on them. I want to make sure that I get a nice prize on the last day, so I'm going to first put that number on it so I know not to mistakenly do that again. So I'm going to put my big 24 prize up here, and I'm going to try to cover up the holes that I made just so that when they're punching through it later we can not totally see them beforehand. The last thing that's left to do, and you don't need to do this, but I like to because I'm going to hang this up on my wall, is I'm going to attach some ribbon at the back so that it can hang up on a wall out of the way so my kids can do it once a day. So I'm just going to cut a piece of ribbon about that much so that I can have it hanging up and sort of out of the way. My nice cereal box background that nobody will see once it's up on the wall. Thanks for watching this video of making the Snowman Holiday Countdown Calendar. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, you can check out my other projects at my website, located in the details below. Thanks so much for watching.